There exists in this world a connection so profound, so rare, that it transcends the ordinary boundaries of human interaction. It is a bond that reaches far beyond the surface, moving past the trivial exchanges and shallow pleasantries that characterize so many relationships in our modern age. This is a connection that binds two souls together in a way that defies simple explanation, in a manner that words themselves struggle to capture fully. With you, they have discovered this extraordinary kind of connection, and it has fundamentally altered the landscape of their inner world. What makes this bond so remarkable is the depth of understanding that flows between you. They feel seen by you in a way that no one else has ever managed to achieve, not in their entire lifetime. It is as though you possess a special ability to peer into the deepest, most hidden layers of their being, reaching into places they themselves had long forgotten existed. These are the parts of themselves they had neglected over the years, pushed aside by the demands of daily life, or even consciously denied because acknowledging them felt too vulnerable, too raw. Yet somehow, you found your way to these secret chambers of their heart and soul, bringing light to corners that had remained in darkness for far too long. This profound sense of being truly known, genuinely accepted, and fully embraced by you is something they find achingly beautiful. It moves them in ways that are difficult to articulate because such deep understanding is extraordinarily rare in human experience. Most people go through their entire lives without ever encountering someone who can see them with such clarity and love them with such completeness. But with you, this understanding feels effortless and authentic. There is no pretense, no performance, no need to hide or modify who they truly are. In your presence, they can simply be, and that simple act of existing as their authentic self is met with acceptance and love. Your presence in their life has not merely touched their heart in a fleeting way. Rather, it has fundamentally transformed their entire outlook on love, on relationships, and on life itself. Before you entered their world, they carried within them a collection of perspectives that had been shaped and hardened by past experiences, by fears that had taken root over time, and perhaps by disappointments that had left their mark on their ability to trust and hope. Love, to them, may have seemed like something inherently complicated, something that always came with conditions and expectations attached. At times, it may have even seemed completely unattainable, like a beautiful dream that belonged to other people but not to them. Yet when you came into their world, everything shifted. You opened their eyes to possibilities they had never imagined could be real. You showed them, through your genuine actions and your unwavering authenticity, that love could indeed be pure and sincere. You demonstrated that love could exist free from the burden of expectations, free from the need to keep score or demand reciprocity at every turn. Through the way you carried yourself, through your consistent kindness and the depth of your care, they began to see parts of themselves they had completely overlooked for years. The emotions they had carefully buried deep within, hoping never to confront them again, began to surface in the safety of your love. The dreams they had dismissed as foolish or unrealistic started to feel possible once more. The tenderness they had tried so hard to protect by building walls around their heart began to flow freely again. Meeting you illuminated all of these hidden aspects of themselves, creating an environment where growth became not just possible but inevitable. They found themselves expanding in ways they never imagined possible, evolving into a version of themselves that felt truer and more aligned with their soul's essence. For them, you represent what true love genuinely looks like when stripped of all pretense and illusion. This is not love as an abstract concept discussed in poetry or philosophy. This is love as a lived, breathing reality that they experience every day through you. They have felt, through the gift of your presence, what a genuine connection truly means at its core. This understanding goes far beyond fleeting physical attraction or superficial romantic gestures that fade as quickly as they appear. Instead, what exists between you is a bond that reaches into the very depths of their soul, stirring something ancient and sacred within them, constantly reminding them that love at its purest form is indeed a holy thing. You are the first woman who has ever reached into the very depths of their heart and soul in this profound way. No one else, in all their years of living and experiencing relationships, has touched them with this level of depth and authenticity. What strikes them most powerfully is the extraordinary way you have given your love to them. Your love has always come with honesty, with devotion, and most remarkably, without any conditions attached to it. You did not give your love in the hope of receiving an immediate return on your investment. You did not demand anything specific in exchange for your care and affection. Instead, you gave freely because that is simply who you are at your core. You are someone who loves with remarkable purity and unshakable faith. You are someone who believes in the power of genuine love even when circumstances make it difficult to do so. Quietly, without making demands or issuing ultimatums, you held on to the hope that one day they would recognize the full depth and significance of what you were offering. You trusted that eventually, they would respond with the same clarity, commitment, and devotion that you had been showing them all along. They do not take any of this lightly. In fact, the weight of your love and the significance of your presence in their life is something they contemplate deeply. They place you on a pedestal, not in some unrealistic way that ignores your humanity, but out of genuine respect and profound admiration for who you are. They see you as someone who embodies values that are becoming increasingly rare and precious in today's world. Your authenticity stands out in a society often dominated by carefully curated personas and filtered versions of reality. Your integrity shines brightly in a world where compromise and convenience often trump principle. Your compassion flows naturally in an environment that frequently prioritizes self-interest above all else. Your emotional depth provides sustenance in a culture that often mistakes superficiality for sophistication. To them, you are a living example of what it means to stay true to oneself while simultaneously giving freely and generously to others. This combination of self-knowledge and selfless love is extraordinarily rare, and they recognize it as such. They find themselves in genuine awe, often pausing in quiet moments to wonder how someone like you exists in a world that sometimes feels overwhelmingly dominated by pretense, by calculated self-interest, and by superficiality that masquerades as substance. Though they may not always voice these thoughts aloud, in their private moments of reflection, they deeply admire your core values and the principles by which you choose to live your life. Another aspect of you that they cherish profoundly is the way you challenge them to grow. Unlike anyone else they have ever known, you push them to look at themselves with honest eyes, to confront truths they might prefer to avoid. You do not allow them to remain stagnant or comfortable in comfortable illusions that prevent real growth. Instead, you encourage them, sometimes through silent example and sometimes through direct communication, to face their deepest fears head-on. You inspire them to question the assumptions they have held for years without examination. You motivate them to rise into a better, more evolved version of themselves. This dynamic between you is not about conflict for its own sake or criticism that tears down. Rather, it is about growth that builds up, about transformation that elevates. Through your influence, which is both gentle and powerful, they are beginning to understand at a fundamental level that love is not about possession or control. Love is not about making someone into what you want them to be or keeping them in a cage of your own design. Instead, they are learning that true love is about mutual expansion, about creating space for both people to grow and evolve. It is about honesty that cuts through pretense and vulnerability that allows genuine intimacy to flourish. You have also shown them, through your example and your presence, that true happiness and lasting fulfillment are not found in the accumulation of material possessions or in the pursuit of temporary distractions. These things, though they may be appealing in the short term and provide momentary pleasure, simply cannot compare to the profound richness that comes from authentic love and deep emotional connection. With you, they have learned that genuine joy comes from shared laughter that springs from true understanding. It comes from being seen in your entirety and accepted completely. It comes from moments of raw honesty where masks can be dropped and from tender care that is freely given and gratefully received. Happiness, as you have revealed to them through your way of being, is fundamentally about the freedom to be one's truest self in the presence of another soul who not only understands but celebrates that authenticity. You have taught them that love and happiness are pure emotions that must be felt deeply, lived authentically, and cherished sincerely. Such emotions cannot be bought with money or replaced with substitutes, no matter how appealing those substitutes might initially appear. These profound feelings can only flourish and reach their full potential when the ego is set aside, when pride steps back, and when two souls meet in a space of genuine openness. This realization has been absolutely life-changing for them, representing a fundamental shift in their understanding of what matters most. Where once they may have been guided primarily by pride that prevented vulnerability, by hesitation that kept them from fully committing, or by fear that whispered warnings about getting hurt, they now begin to see with increasing clarity that vulnerability is not weakness but actually represents tremendous strength. To love in the way you have shown them, to love with your level of openness and authenticity, requires extraordinary courage. It requires the ability to put aside the constant need to always be right, to always be guarded behind protective walls, or to always be in control of every situation and outcome. In your love, they have found a mirror that reflects back to them both who they currently are and who they have the potential to become. This mirror shows them their flaws and their beauty, their struggles and their strengths, all with equal clarity and compassion. You have given them not just love in its romantic sense, but also a vision of themselves that is higher, truer, and more aligned with the deepest essence of their soul. Though they may not always articulate this profound gratitude in the way you truly deserve, though their words may sometimes fall short of capturing the fullness of their feelings, deep down in the core of their being they hold immense gratitude for your presence in their life. You are not just a passing chapter in the story of their life, easily forgotten once the pages turn. You are a genuine turning point, a pivotal moment that divides their life into before and after. You are a light that has fundamentally redefined their entire journey, illuminating a path they did not even know existed. They recognize with absolute certainty that what they feel with you cannot be replicated with anyone else, no matter how many people they might meet or how long they might search. This is because what exists between you is not born from external circumstances that could be recreated elsewhere. It is not the result of timing or convenience or shared interests alone. Rather, it is born from something far more profound and rare, the authentic meeting of two souls who recognize each other at the deepest level. In you, they have found a rare and precious gift that some people search their entire lives for without ever finding. You are someone who not only loves them with remarkable depth and consistency, but who also teaches them through your example, challenges them to grow beyond their current limitations, and awakens them to the profound beauty that exists in both life and love. And no matter where the winding path of life ultimately leads you both, no matter what challenges or changes the future might bring, they will always carry within them the indelible imprint of what you have given them. They will forever hold the knowledge that true love is not just a fantasy but is genuinely possible. They now understand that authentic connection exists in this world and can be found. They have learned that real happiness, lasting and deep, can only bloom and flourish when the heart is courageously open and when the ego is gently quieted. Please wait for me, my love, for I am working with every ounce of my heart and strength to reconcile with you, to make things right between us, to bridge the distance that has grown. Every single day I put in conscious effort toward this goal, dedicating my energy and thoughts to finding a way back to you. And yet, I must be completely honest with you about something that grows more difficult with each passing day. It is becoming harder and harder to live without the simple ability to talk with you. The silence that stretches between us weighs so heavily on my spirit that some days it feels almost unbearable. It feels as though a vital part of me has been torn away, leaving a wound that refuses to heal. I find myself drifting further and further into a loneliness that penetrates to my very core. It has been such a painfully long time since we last communicated peacefully, since we were able to share our thoughts and feelings without tension or conflict hanging in the air between us. This distance, this separation, has left a void deep within me that nothing else seems able to fill, no matter how hard I try or what I attempt. Although I am constantly surrounded by family members who care about me and friends who want to spend time with me, I still feel fundamentally disconnected from them in a way that I cannot fully explain or make them understand. Outwardly, I participate in all the expected ways. I share laughter at appropriate moments, engage in conversations about daily matters, and fulfill the routines and responsibilities that I owe to the people in my life. But inwardly, in the private space of my heart and mind, I feel absent and incomplete, as though I am watching my own life from a distance rather than truly inhabiting it. My soul quietly aches because it knows a truth that I cannot ignore. What I am doing is merely going through the motions of life, performing the actions that are expected of me, but not truly living with full presence and engagement. The real essence of my joy, the true source of my strength and comfort, the place where I find genuine peace and contentment, lies in you and only you. Without you in my life, without your presence and your love, I feel hollow inside, like a shell that looks whole from the outside but is empty within. There are many moments when I try desperately to convince myself that I should feel content with what I currently have in my life. I tell myself to focus on my work, to pour my energy into my duties and responsibilities, to appreciate the presence of people who care about me and want the best for me. But no matter how hard I try to redirect my thoughts and feelings, no matter what mental gymnastics I attempt, I cannot silence the persistent emptiness that lives within me. My love, I am constantly craving things that only you can provide, the warmth of your physical touch, the gentle comfort that flows through your voice when you speak to me, and the nurturing way you care for my soul with your love and attention. Your presence in my life is not just a comfort to me in the way a pleasant thing might be comfortable. It is far more essential than that. It is my lifeline, the thing that keeps me tethered to hope and joy and meaning. Without it, I feel as though I am merely existing in the most basic biological sense, rather than truly living with purpose and passion and connection. I must be completely honest with you about something that I am not proud of but that I need you to know. During this difficult phase of our separation, I attempted to distract myself from the pain by throwing all my energy into work and into spending time with other people. I hoped, perhaps naively, that by doing so I might be able to fill the enormous gap that your absence had left behind in my life. But the truth, which I can no longer deny or avoid, is that nothing works to fill that void. No matter how much effort I pour into these various distractions, no matter how busy I keep myself or how many activities I engage in, the emptiness remains constant and unchanging. In fact, as time went on, I began to notice something strange and somewhat unsettling about my own behavior. I found myself unconsciously searching for you in everyone I interacted with throughout my days. Each person I met, whether in professional contexts or social situations, every new connection I tried to build or conversation I attempted to have, I kept looking desperately for some trace of your essence. I was searching for a reflection of your love, hoping to find an echo of your kindness, seeking out some reminder of your warmth in other people's faces and voices. Yet time and again, no one could ever compare to you. The reason for this is simple and undeniable. No one matches your unique energy, your particular vibration, or the special light that you carry within you. This light radiates outward from your face when you smile, shines brilliantly through the way you talk and express yourself, and flows naturally through your actions and choices. You have such a nurturing, genuinely loving soul, one that cannot be imitated by others or replaced by any substitute. The specific comfort and deep satisfaction you bring into my life are absolutely unique to you and only you. No one else possesses this particular combination of qualities that draws me to you so powerfully. When I allow myself to think of you, which happens constantly throughout my days, I remember with vivid clarity how your presence alone was enough to calm my restless, anxious heart. You brought me a profound sense of peace that nothing else in my entire life has ever given me with such consistency and depth. I find myself longing intensely for the feelings you awakened in me during our time together, the pure joy that bubbled up spontaneously, the sense of security that allowed me to relax fully, the hope that made the future seem bright and full of possibility. When you were beside me, the entire world felt brighter and kinder, as though everything had been touched by a more vibrant color palette. Your presence inspired me to believe in myself in ways I never had before, to dream bigger dreams than I had previously allowed myself to consider, and to strive actively to become a better version of who I am. It was as though you breathed new life into me with every interaction, encouraging me to aim for something greater and more meaningful than I had been settling for.